chair in the background. It's ruining my vibe. Hi friends, so welcome back to my channel. My name is Darian. I am a 30-year-old mom of two, and on this channel I like to post about my writing journey and motherhood, lifestyle, or military family, so post about that too. If you want to check out the playlists that are around, please check those out. There's tons to do. Grab your coffee or your tea. I guess tea would be more relevant because today I'm spilling the tea on my favorite tips. These tips that helped me win NaNoWriMo last year. Yes, wait, time out. This is the novel that I wrote during my first NaNoWriMo. This is 50,000 words. This is what it looks like. Print it out. Envision it. Let's just pause a moment. Envision yourself holding your manuscript that you write in November. Are you seeing it? Did you envision it yet? All right. This is your first NaNoWriMo, or maybe this is just the first year that you're taking it seriously like I did last year. I have some really helpful tips that I think are going to make a huge impact when it comes to deciding whether or not you win Nano. Now, before we get into this, let's just take a minute to talk about what winning NaNoWriMo actually means, because to me, I don't really think that if you participate in NaNoWriMo and you don't hit that 50K, that doesn't mean that you're not a winner. You know, we all have different lives. I have two kiddos that are, you know, under 4 years old. I have a husband, you know, who's in the military, so my schedule changes on a daily basis. I work from home as a social media manager, so there's a lot on my plate. I am not sitting at my desk writing a novel every day, all day in November, even though I wish I was. So winning for me might not necessarily be hitting that 50K, but it might be something like writing every day, or you know, getting through the first act of my novel. I want to encourage you to set those alternate goals. That way when, you know, middle of the month comes and you're struggling with your motivation, you're not gonna win, you know you're not gonna hit that 50K, you have another goal to fall back on and could say, hey, look, I still won NaNoWriMo because maybe I didn't write 50K, but I still hit this goal that I set for myself. My next tip, and I think that this was really, really helpful in how I won Nano last year, and that is to try to front load your writing. So the first week of Nano is, everybody is so hyped. Like if you've never experienced Nano, if this is your first NaNoWriMo, you are in for a ride, because the first week of Nano is so much fun. Everybody's posting videos. Everybody's, you know, updating the Nano website. If you follow people on social media, shameless plug, I'll be posting daily updates on my social media on Instagram, so all of those are linked in the description below if you want to check them out. But yeah, everybody's hyped about it. Everybody's writing. There's live streams. There's, you know, all kinds of things that you can get into the spirit. I personally took the 1st of November off so that I can spend the whole day writing. So I am planning on going into the first 7 to 10 days of NaNoWriMo really, really trying to hit high word counts. So the daily NaNoWriMo goal, if you are writing 50K, is 1,667 words. I usually round it up to 1,670 just because it's easier. And then last year, I actually set a personal daily word count goal to hit 2,000 words a day, because I knew that was going to help me in case I didn't write as many words as I needed to one day, or, you know, life happened and I just couldn't write that day. Also, sorry, I am feeling a little bit under the weather. So if you hear this, you know, gunk going on, my sinuses hate the, you know, one day it's 85 degrees and then one day it's 28 degrees. I miss Alaska. Anyways, that was a tangent that no one needed here. Anyways. The first week of Nano, try to hit as many words as you want. Don't focus on perfection. You know, don't focus on the little things. Get the story on the page and move the story forward, because the middle of the month, you're gonna feel the drag. people start falling off around the middle of the month. It gets harder. Your motivation is a little waning and waxing. If you're like me, you're hyped because the new Pokemon game is coming out and you only want to play that. This happened to me last year. So really focus on trying to hit those high word counts at the beginning in case something happens, in case life happens. I know not everybody can take a day off of work. I'm very fortunate enough to be able to do that. So figure out what you can do, what's going to motivate you to get those high word counts. Ride that wave of hyper productivity, ride the wave of the hype at the beginning of the month, and it will serve you throughout the rest of the month. Along a similar vein is to plan ahead for the days that you might take off. Now, I'm not suggesting that you take off a day during NaNoWriMo, but it happens. Sometimes we need to, sometimes we feel like we need a break, sometimes the words just aren't coming out, It happens. I get it. We've all been there as writers. So it helps to look at your calendar and see those days where it might be harder for you to hit a word count. It might be harder for you to write. So if you're in the United States and you celebrate Thanksgiving, November means Thanksgiving. So I know we're going to be traveling for Thanksgiving this year to go visit my family, which I'm very excited about. We haven't seen them in a very long time. I haven't been home for Thanksgiving in years because we moved to Alaska for 3 years. So I am planning on Thanksgiving being a day that I might not be able to write as much as I want, but I know that I'm also going to be spending, 8 hours in a car twice, during that week of Thanksgiving. So that's 16 hours where I'm just going to be sitting in the car and I might as well be writing. Some people might want to work breaks or high work days into their schedule. I also know that the end of the month is typically busier for me because I'm a social media manager, and that means content calendars are due. So my work tends to happen at the end of the month. So I know I might not be able to write as much on those days. I also know that my husband has classes that are, very rigorous right now, and he's going to be doing that up until the first week of November. So look at your schedule, plan ahead for days that you might miss, that you might not be able to write as much. It will serve you in the long time. That's not a phrase. It will serve you in the long run. My next piece of advice is to make a plan for when you get stuck. As writers, getting stuck staring at a page that you just can't find the words to write is one of the worst things that can happen. So I like to make a list, and I do this pretty regularly, but I like to make a list of things that I know help me get out of a phase that I'm stuck. That can be taking a walk. That can be, just going and standing in the shower, doing some brainstorming. It can simply be moving to a different spot in your house. It can be dictating, using different software. So instead of writing at a keyboard, dictating your novel, or writing with a pen and paper. So if you have a writing routine and you know what writing looks like for you, then you should already have a pretty good idea of how you can work on getting unstuck if you're stuck with a scene in your novel during NaNoWriMo. If you don't, if you have no idea what your writer life looks like, what helps you, then make a list of things that you enjoy that aren't writing. Just anything, like I said, take a walk, take a shower, read a book, browse for inspiration, that sort of thing. Because those will, having some way to make yourself feel unstuck will empower you to go back to writing, because you're not going to be sitting there being like, oh, I'm the worst, I am never going to get past this stuck phase. It actually enables you to get up and go do something that will hopefully change the outcome of, what you're saying, what you're stuck on. And my last tip, which this might not help everybody, my battery is gonna die, but my last tip is to make a reward system. I found last year that I loved the reward system that I set up for myself. And this was just like little things, like I bought a lap desk and things like that. So you can keep it in a similar vein of things, like creativity or like writing accessories or like maybe books and reading and that sort of thing. Or you could be like me and you're gonna be like, hey, on November 18th, if you've hit this many words in your manuscript, you can buy the new Pokemon game, which I'm gonna buy anyway, but I'm not gonna let myself play it unless I've hit a certain word count goal. And that really motivates me. You know, so just little things like that. Cozy things for your desk. I highly recommend, if you're a Pokemon fan, one of these giant buddies. I've actually been using it to hold my books when I'm reading. Anyways, I love that. So like that's 20 bucks, 30 bucks at Target. It doesn't have to be expensive. It also can be like inexpensive things. It can just be like, you know, you get a treat, or you get like a snack or some like your favorite snack or candy, or you know, you could take an hour off, that sort of thing. So get creative with your reward system. I'm gonna have a printable linked below that you can print off and write down your rewards, and I just think that's so much fun. And then you get to have it tangibly on the wall around your working space, and you'll be able to, you know, motivate yourself that way by being like, oh, I'm so close to, you know, hitting 5K, which means I get to check off this first reward for myself. Anyways, so those are my quick and dirty tips that I think really helped me win Nano last year. Now let's get into the rest of the video where I'm going to talk about the vibe, the, you know, other things, the last minute things that you can do before Nano, what I'm going to have in my NaNoWriMo toolbox starting November. We're almost there now. This is absolutely not a NaNoWriMo accessory or necessity. This is absolutely not a NaNoWriMo necessity, but I could not resist buying this cute little sleeping Eevee. I'll leave it linked down below. It was only like 30 bucks. Oh, it's so cuddly. But I just like figured, you know, sitting at the computer. Wait. Look, and now I have like a little writing buddy, as if I don't have a kid on my lap all the time when I'm working. But like, just, you know, for the emotional support, right? Also, I'm gonna be completely honest, I did not think this was gonna be this big, but I love it. I probably should have gotten a smaller one though. Maybe I'll get one for my desk. My last tip for NaNoWriMo is to curate your writing space or spaces. I've been using the month of October to gather the things I know I'll need, like my writer's notebook. My writer's notebook is where I keep all of the notes I take while watching videos or reading craft books. I also have my notebook that is specific to my NaNoWriMo project. I like having project-specific notebooks because then I don't have to go digging for anything, but you can also do this digitally in Notion or Google Docs. I also plan on printing out this plot table that I created based on the 3-act 8-sequence structure. I highly recommend checking out Victoria Aveyard's video on how she uses this method. It's been so helpful for plotting my Nano novel this year. Part of my story involves an apple orchard, so I found this candle at Target. I also grabbed my favorite fall treat for writing times. These caramel apple suckers are the best. The other thing I'm trying this year is having inspiration close to me. I love reading poetry books when I'm writing to help with prose and words that I might not necessarily think of, though I don't think prose should be top priority during Nano. I'm also grabbing Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo because there are some similar elements in my story. The Scorpio Races, which is a new favorite book of mine, has also been really helpful and inspiring to me during Preptober. Pause, just to show you how, like, aesthetic the tabs look with this cover.